Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. This is your big brother, Dr. Umar Tunde Oguntade, coming to you live and direct, the Prince of Pennsylvania. This is the back-to-school edition of the Black Parent Teleconference. This is the back-to-school edition of the Black Parent Teleconference. This is the back-to-school edition of the Black Parent Teleconference. If you have a question about your son, your daughter, your godson, your goddaughter, your grandson, your granddaughter, your little brother, your little sister, if you have a question about autism, if you have a question about speech and language, if you have a question about the reading disability, the math disability, intellectual disability, emotional disturbance, deaf children, blind children, brain-injured children, traumatic brain-injured children, ADHD, conduct disorder, IEP, psychological evaluation, FAPELRE, psychological reevaluations. If you have a question about education or mental health, if you have a question about education or mental health about your child, this is your opportunity to call in. Text your name and your city. Please follow directions. Text your name and your city. Please follow directions. Text your first name and your city to my cell phone, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, and I will call you live on Instagram so you can ask your question about your child. We are only dealing with education or mental health. If you have any other questions, this is not the time for that. This is not the time for that. This is the time for our children. Again, questions and answers about Black children, mental health and education. I don't care if you live in South America, Central America, Caribbean, London, Asia, Canada, Australia, South Pacific, wherever you live. If you have a question, now's the time. Text your name and your city, +1 215-989-9858, +1 215-989-9858. Brothers and sisters, it's the Black Parent Teleconference. Yes, vote for what t-shirts will be coming up for sale. Vote for what t-shirts. You can get your very own Dr. Umar. Vote for what? We didn't say not vote. We said vote for what? What are we voting for? Brothers and sisters, you will be able to order your own Vote for What t-shirt coming to you soon. I probably will have some in Newark, New Jersey next Sunday. I will be speaking at the Source of Knowledge bookstore in Newark, New Jersey next Sunday, September the 15th. I will be speaking at the Source of Knowledge bookstore next Sunday, September the 15th at 2 p.m. The street festival and book giveaway is from noon until 6 on Sunday, September the 15th. Source of Knowledge bookstore, Newark, New Jersey. The Prince of Pan-Africanism will speak at 2 o'clock. Edward Waters, where my HBCU Edward Waters University students at? Where my HBCU Edward Waters University students at? I will be speaking in Jacksonville, Florida, at HBCU Edward Waters University on Thursday, September the 26th at 7 p.m. in the Milne Auditorium. That's HBCU Edward Waters University, Jacksonville, Florida, Thursday, September the 26th at 7 p.m. in the Milne Auditorium, brothers and sisters. I will be doing a live to clap back at Roland and Uncle Luke, calling Tyrese a liar when in fact they were incorrect in their assertion. So I will be doing a clap back on that, and I will be doing a live to talk about the 3 upcoming eclipses. One on Harriet Tubman's day, she escaped, one on Nat Turner's birthday, and one on Dangerfield Newby's martyrdom day. He was the first to die for John Brown in the 1859 raid, as well as the planet Pluto going into Aquarius for the first time in 226 years. So y'all better get ready for revolution, African people. Good Garvey Day to my Africans in Africa, my Ghanaian Africans, my Gambian, Zambian, Lesotho, South Africa, Togolese, Benin, Gambian, Ethiopian, Eritrean, Somalian, Malawian, Kenya, Botswana, Angola, Mozambique Africans, my South American Africans in Brazil, in Suriname, in Guyana, in my Central American Africans. You're talking about Panama, Costa Rica, Belize, all my my Canadian Africans. I will be in Canada October 4th, 5th, and 6th. Where my Toronto Africans at? Where my Toronto Africans at? Where my Toronto Africans? I will be in Toronto for the first time in 12 long years. I will be in Toronto for the first time October 4th, 5th, and 6th. Nat Turner celebration. Nat Turner's birthday, October 2nd. Nat Turner's birthday, October 2nd. Nat Turner's birthday, October 2nd. Go to natturnerlibrary.com and get your tickets to join me in Virginia on Nat Turner's 224th solar return on October the 2nd in Virginia. Toronto, Canada, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. But Monday, I'll be in Los Angeles interviewing with my big brother, Nick Cannon. Monday, I'll be in Los Angeles interviewing with my big brother, Nick Cannon. Monday, I'll be in Los Angeles interviewing with my big brother, Nick Cannon, brothers and sisters. If you live in Los Angeles and you want to do a podcast interview, you can reach out to me. If you live in the Los Angeles area and you want to do a podcast interview, you can reach out to me, but I am not free. I'm telling you that right now. The most requested black scholar in the world is not free. So if you ain't got no money, don't reach out to me for no podcast. 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. My London Africans, I'll see you October the 21st through October the 26th, London, England.
Hello?
Brother Donald, how's Baton Rouge, Louisiana treating you?
Hey, it's really good. How's it going?
I'm well, brother. Go right ahead with your question.
Man, I'm actually calling not for my own kids, but for my nieces.
Go right ahead.
They're having some issues like acting up at school and stuff, but I think it's stemming from their parents going
How old is the niece?
Separation. One of them is 15 and one of them is 14.
Okay, so they're teenagers, so they're probably definitely going through it because of the separation of the parents. At that age, teenagers, most of the time, the function of their behavior is some sort of unaddressed family or emotional issue.
Right.
So remember, all mental illness originates in the family system. And so in order to help them young ladies, the parents are going to have to chill out and give them a healthy environment to live in. Otherwise, they're going to get so frustrated and depressed that they're going to run right into the arms of a boy. And now we're looking at a potential teenage pregnancy situation. I would still get them counseling because they need it so they can cope with what's going on. But if the parents don't chill out, then there may be no relief for the two princesses involved.
Right, yeah, that's my thing too. So I was just really trying to get like any advice on like what kind of it's like extracurricular activities or.
Well, yeah, they definitely need an extracurricular activity to get out of the house, and so they don't have to sit around spending all their time thinking about their parents' issues. So yeah, extracurricular activities, absolutely. Some counseling as well for them would be good too. So yes, you want to do both. Maybe they even got an after school job. If they don't, they need to get one because that'll help them keep their mind off of that as well. But again, those parents, need to decide what they're going to do. Y'all staying together or y'all breaking up. But either way, those daughters don't need to be experiencing all of that domestic turmoil. Absolutely. So this is a classic case.
Once it's already like established and like some of the damage is done, is it like irreversible or
you never know? You can't speculate. Everybody's different. Let's say you and I are brothers. You and I grew up with the same mother and father. I might turn out all right, and you might be on alcohol and marijuana for the rest of your life, coping with what you went through, because we're all different. We're spiritually different, even if we're siblings, and our interaction with our parents was different, even though we're siblings. And from a spiritual level, we all come into this world with a certain destiny that we have to meet. We also come into this world with certain karmic events that have to unfold in order for us to get the necessary experiences so we can give birth to our destiny. So, you know, you can have two twins. They could be identical twins, but they still have two different destinies because they're two different souls, and they have two different relationships with their parents, and they're going to have two different ways of coping with what happens. So, but I never speculate on what's going to happen. I mean, we know the potential, but we don't know the outcome. For example, in my years being a school psychologist, right, it's been about 25 years, and I evaluated a lot of so-called drug babies, right? So the parents was chemically addicted to crack, and people told me this is a crack baby. This is what they said. This parents was on drugs. They found them in a trash can, and guess what? Some of them so-called crack babies were the smartest children I ever evaluated, ever. Right. So right. We don't want to be. What do you want to call that? We don't want to put ceilings on the potential of our children. We don't want to put ceilings on the potential of our children, and we don't want to predetermine their potential. That's what Caucasians like to do with our kids. They don't want to tell you at 5 that he can't learn. They want to tell you at 3 he's autistic forever. They want to. You cannot. The spirit and mind of a child is so dynamic. Psychology, black psychology is so dynamic, you cannot predetermine what someone is going to become and what they will or will not be able to do. There's been people who've been told they will never walk again. There's been people who've been told you will never walk again, and now they're walking. So we're not going to put any conditions or predeterminants on the potential of those children. We just have to support them as best we can and see how it turns out.
Right. Yeah. And as far as like disciplining them for the you know, like the actions, the acting out in school and against their parents and stuff, what do you recommend with that?
Well, like that will be the parents.
The space.
Well, with older children, discipline has to take the form of activity. So with younger kids, you can send them to their room early, bed, time out. That's not going to work with teenagers. With teenagers, you have to put them to work. You feel me? So you're going to volunteer at the homeless shelter. You're going to volunteer at the hospital. You're going to volunteer at the community organization. With older children, they're so narcissistic, if you would, developmentally narcissistic, that all they want to do is what they want to do. So you have to put them to work doing things they don't want to do. That's how you punish older children. You don't punish older children the same way you punish the younger children. But again, if those parents are going to keep them young ladies in a dysfunctional environment, even punishment may not change nothing because you're dealing with dysfunction. That dysfunction needs to be addressed before we see any real change in the children.
Okay, yeah, I'm understanding better. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Be safe out there. Black queens forever,
right.
Snow bunnies never.
I got you.
All right. Let's go to the next call.